Hi Dragon Nation, this is Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jill.
And we are getting ready for the fall semester, and we wanted to make sure we got all the housing questions answered before students start moving onto campus. So, a little bit about what we're doing here. I'm Jamie, I am the Dean of Student Success, and we're getting everything ready for you here on campus so that in August you're ready to roll, get here, move in, and we want to make sure that you know exactly what you need before you get here so that you don't have to take things back home, correct? So I have Jill Aldrich with me here, and she is going to talk a little bit about just some of the basics about housing, and then we'll get into some questions.
Awesome. So I am the Assistant Director for Housing Operations here at TU. So everything housing or meal plans will come through me. We are super excited to get you guys here and get things started. Move-in can be a little hectic at times, so hopefully these questions that we go over will help ease some of that craziness for you.
So we've asked for your questions and you've answered our call. So we're gonna go through some of the basic questions that new students typically have when they're coming onto campus. So the first thing is, if you have questions that we aren't gonna answer in this video, where should I email those questions to, Jill?
So one of the best places to email is housing@tiffin.edu. And that typically gets you about a 2-day response time, so be patient. I do get on average around 100 to 150 emails a day, and I do my best to clear those up, but typically I ask that you give me a 2-day window. So it's housing@tiffin.edu.
Awesome. So, you know, living on campus is an experience, and one that I experienced many years ago, but one of my favorite and most memorable experiences of college was moving into my residence hall, getting to know a roommate I'd never met before, all that good stuff. Tell us a little bit about the housing department, the who, the what, who do we, you know, as a new student coming in, who am I gonna meet, who can I ask for help once I'm here?
So housing falls under the Student Affairs umbrella. And within Student Affairs, we have the Dean of Students, who is Jacob Simon. We also have 3 area coordinators, and I actually share a dual role, and not only am I in charge of housing, but I'm also an area coordinator. And the way that we separate everything, or the way that we organize our housing, is we separate the campus by neighborhoods. And there's 3 neighborhoods. There's Uptown, Downtown, and Coast. Within that, Amber Molnar is one of our area coordinators, and she oversees Uptown, she oversees Coast, and we have Nick Latore, he oversees Downtown, and I oversee Uptown. Now the majority of you coming in, or actually all of you coming in, you are actually going to be placed within Downtown and Coast, within our resident halls. And within those resident halls, or within Student Affairs, we also have what we call resident assistants, or RAs. And we have about 33 RAs, and they are actually housed among the first year students and in the different university houses that we have. And those individuals are people that we handpicked, because we feel that they are going to give you the best resources and the best opportunities, or the best, as far as when I say opportunities, I mean events and different things to do within your res hall, but they're also an amazing resource. They're not just kind of keeping the peace among everybody within the res halls. They're actually the ones that you go to if you have questions that you need answered in a hurry, or you know, something that you need relatively quickly.
Yeah, so along the lines of when I'm here as a new student and I have questions. So one of the biggest questions that I'm guessing you get, just to, you know, because even as someone not in housing, I get this question often. If I lose my key, or, I mean, you're gonna be issued a key to get into your building and into your residence hall room. So if I lose my key, or I get locked out, my key is in my room and I've locked myself out, what happens? What do I do?
So the first thing that you want to do is you actually want to call security, and that number will be posted all over the res halls. We will be sending emails with that information. So the one thing that I want to tell you before you even get to campus is the numbers that we send to you, please program them into your phone. But security is your first call, and they will key you in if you've locked your key in your room. Now, if you've lost your key, then you will actually see me during business hours, and I will then get another key for you. However, I do want to tell you that if you lose your key, it is a $200 key charge, lost key charge. So my suggestion would be to buy a lanyard and make sure you put that key on a lanyard, because I can tell you from experience, I've been doing this for 17 years, and literally the number one reason that people lose their keys is because they don't have it on a lanyard, and they have it just free floating or just on a little tiny keychain, and they end up losing it.
Yeah, so hey, save the money. We're gonna be giving you a lanyard when you move in.
Yep.
So attach your key right to the lanyard, and around your neck or in your pocket or in your backpack, the key stays. But yeah, along the lines of, policies, procedures, not to get too far in the weeds, but there are policies and procedures. Our RAs, our resident assistants, are kind of our first line of, making sure that as new students, you understand those policies and that you're actually following the rules. Where would I find the information about all the policies and procedures as a new student?
So that is going to be the student handbook, and that is located on the portal and online on our website. And I really suggest that you all go through that and that you all read it and become familiar with it, because the last thing that I want to see happen to anyone is to come in and not be educated on what the rules are and find themselves in what I call kind of a sticky wicky situation because they didn't know.
Yeah, and it's important, this adjustment to, from living at home and having rules under, your family's roof, to then coming to college and being
Freedom.
More independent is a transition. It truly is. The best way to prepare yourself is to understand what the expectations are. What we'll do is in the comments, we will make sure that we provide links to all these things that we're referencing, including the student handbook and all that good stuff, so that as we're talking about it, you can be accessing that and reading through it, because it is really important to empower yourself as students so that you have all the information you need so that you can be the most successful student as possible. So we will provide all those links for you. Along the lines of, I'm going to shift gears here. I mean, there are obviously rules and policies. You're living on campus, so there are things rules you have to follow. But you do have a lot of independence and freedom. And so that comes with, lots of exciting things. And your RA will kind of be a really wonderful resource and guide to helping you find your way and find some of those cool and new things to get involved in. But I want to shift gears a little bit to when I'm going to be living in a room, right? A new student. I wish I was living in a new room, but no. As a new student, I'd be moving into a new room. I want to know a little bit about this room. What's the size of the room? A lot of the questions are like, okay, I want curtains, or maybe your mom or somebody wants to buy you curtains. It's nice to have curtains or something covering the windows.
Yes.
Where am I going to find the information that I need to know so I know what's going to be in that room when I get there, so I have the things I need and I'm well prepared to move in and make it like home?
So one of the best resources is obviously our website. If you go to the on-campus living link, it will actually provide you with a list of our different res halls, and then it will actually give you the list of, or the dimensions of a single room, a double room, a triple, or a quad. It will give you those dimensions. I can tell you that when it comes to curtains, that's a big question that I get all the time. Spring rods are your friend. Those are the number one thing that I tell everybody that you need to get. There are some curtain rods that are already attached to the walls in the rooms, but not all of them have that, and that is something that maintenance has to do. It's not something that you can do on your own, but spring rods actually tend to work a lot better, and usually the windows are no more than 35 inches wide, and if you get a curtain that is 35 by 60 or somewhere around there, you'll be fine. Yeah, it will cover it. And typically there's only one window per room. There's a couple that there's two, but yeah, it'll list that within that information that's on the website. Within your room, just so you know, we do provide a twin extra long bed. And depending on where you're staying, you will either have a closet or a wardrobe to keep your clothes hung. We provide a dresser, and we provide a desk and a chair. One big question that I get a lot, which makes me giggle, everybody says, what's the best size TV to get? Of course, I say bigger the better. However, that doesn't always work for a single room. I will tell you that anything 42 and lower is a really good fit. When you start getting into the 55 or even 65-inch TVs, you won't like it. I can tell you. You will be, one, scared to death because it's not something that can be mounted on the wall. So you'd be scared to death of knocking it over in that small space with a single, with everything else that's in there. But I can tell you that 42 and smaller is the best fit.
Awesome. You were talking a bit about the curtain rods and all that good stuff. I do want to mention that I know I had all of this planned when I came. I wanted everything to match and all this business. Well, of course, I get into my room and I'm meeting my roommate for the first time, and we have coordinated, but it doesn't always work perfectly. There is a Walmart down the road.
Yes.
There is a Big Lots even closer.
Yep.
If you don't have every single item you need, or maybe it doesn't all fit, there's places you can go to get these things once you're here. So just keep that in mind, that, it doesn't have to be perfect day one. I know that's what we want, and the sooner it is more your space, the sooner it feels like home. But you do have some resources around Tiffin to get some of those things if you don't have them when you get here.
Now, one thing that I do want to interject here is that there's a lot of questions about lofting your bed or bunking your beds within the room. Those are done by our maintenance team, and those are something that is a request that you would put into your RA, and your RA would then facilitate that to get it done. We usually ask that within like the first week that does not get done. Now, I know it throws some of the moms off because when they get here, they want to have everything perfect by the time that they leave, and sometimes that's just not the case. But I can tell you that that is a request that for the 21-22 academic year, we will be able to do.
Really cool. And if you raise your bed up or loft it, it does provide some extra living space. And these are residence hall rooms, so it is an adjustment. If you're sharing a room, it's not super small, but it's not going to be overwhelmingly huge. So less is more in these spaces as well. I do want to reiterate, it's an extra long twin bed.
Yes.
I say that because I went off to college. I had a twin in my room at home, so I took twin sheets and they didn't fit.
Right.
Extra long twins. So that's important. And you talked about these. We want this to be home, right? I want to hang things on the walls.
Yep. So that's a big one. No nails, and no thumb tabs either. But or thumb pins. But I can tell you that command strips, the Velcro ones, they are your best friend. They work really well, and they provide zero damage to the wall when we take them down. But yeah, definitely command strips or the 3M, any of that line works best for hanging any of your things on the wall.
So if I didn't see this video ahead of time and I start to put thumbtacks in my wall, or I bring the hammer and nails, what's gonna happen?
So, obviously nothing at first because we won't know. But actually at the end of the semester when housekeeping and maintenance goes through the res halls, you could possibly be charged for room damages. And I don't want that to happen to anyone because usually it's anywhere upwards of $75 to $200.
Yeah. Command strips. Yes, very good. All right, so I think the most important thing, the bathrooms. Okay, so I'm just curious, what to expect. It's a residence hall. What are the bathrooms like?
So some of our res halls have single occupancy bathrooms, so that means only one person in at a time. There's a couple of res halls that are 3, 4, and 5 occupancy. So basically what it is that you have, more than one sink. You have obviously more than one toilet, and you obviously have more than one shower. So shower caddy, shower shoes, a robe is very, very, very important in this situation. I will tell you, it does take a little bit of getting used to, but it's funny how you have a group of strangers that end up on a floor, but somehow there's a routine that ends up kind of forming unknowingly, right? So it all works out. I know that sometimes that causes a little bit of anxiety, but rest assured it will all work out, and it won't even be a blip on your radar once after 2 weeks of being here.
It's a great life lesson because eventually in life you will not be living alone most likely, and I have this discussion most mornings with my husband. So we've got the system now, and I now have children who are interfering in my bathroom, mirror time and stuff. But so this is life, right?
Yep.
You do, yes, adjustments are going to be part of this, but it's also a really great experience of learning how to share space with people. You might not, giving yourself time in the morning, not, I say that, but I'm not very good at actually listening to my own advice. But you may not get into the shower right away, and that's not going to be a great excuse for being late to class. So you might be going to class without a shower. You know, these things happen.
Messy buns are okay.
It's a thing now, right? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So one of the things you mentioned that I want to, say again, shower caddies and flip flops. Are a thing, right? These are, even if you're in a one-person bathroom, other people are using it when you aren't. So, and also when I go to take my shower and I'm in my robe and I got my shower caddy, should I leave my room unlocked or, okay, so what do I do?
So make sure that you are taking your lanyard into the bathroom with you. Do not prop your doors open. While, theft is not a huge problem here on campus, you don't want to open yourself up for something like that. So make sure that you're always locking your door. So doors are never to be propped open or left unlocked when you're not in them.
Yeah, that's big rule, I would say.
Yes, huge.
That key should be with you while you're showering. You can just hang it.
There are hooks in the shower, so you can hang your lanyard underneath your robe or whatnot. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure everything's locked.
I have gotten the call once or twice to unlock the room, their room, because they locked their key in the room while they were showering.
Yes.
All the more reason for the robe.
And the robe, yes, 100% the robe. I cannot tell you how many people I've met with towels wrapped around their waists or around their bodies, and they are, not making eye contact.
Yep, we'll get you back in your room. It might not be comfortable, but we will get you back in.
We will.
So, speaking of things that are allowed in the room that aren't already there when I get there, I know number one on the list, refrigerator.
Yes.
What size?
Yes. So you can have a refrigerator as big as a 3.1 cubic inch. Or cubic feet, I'm sorry. So 3.1 and smaller, you're able to have in your room. And if you're in a double, you and your roommate can have one each. I get that question a lot, like, are we only allowed one per room, whatever? No, as many beds, you can have refrigerators. Yep.
Wonderful. Speaking of food, and stuff, I'm living on campus as a new student. Do I have to have a meal plan?
Yes. If you are living on campus, first years are required to have the gold plan. And that will give you 3 meals per day, and that will also give you $100, or what we call Dragon Dollars. And those Dragon Dollars can be used at different places here on campus, the Dragon Brew, the bookstore. You can use that money to actually swipe one of your friends in and pay for their meal if they don't have a meal plan. It can also be used at Marco's and Domino's as well.
Awesome.
So you have several options with that.
So along the lines of the meal plan, what kind of dining options, and I know this is maybe not, we have a food service office that will probably give more specific information, but can you just give a basic idea of what my options are at the dining hall when I'm swiping in?
Yeah, so when you come into the dining hall, 90% of the time, all of the stations, we call them, are all open. So you have a grill station, we have a fusion station that offers a variety of different things. We have a pizza and pasta station, and then we have an entree station. And all of those offer different varieties of food. One question that I do get, that if you have special dietary needs, that is one thing that you need to communicate with us. We only know what we know, right? So if you have something that you need, our dining hall service workers are amazing. If you are a vegetarian, and 95% of the time there is a vegetarian option. Well, actually all the time there's a vegetarian option. But even if there's things on there that you would like to change up or something different, you just need to talk to who we call Chef Todd. And he will actually personally make you something right on the spot. It's an amazing thing for students, and I wish more people actually utilized it, because we have a lot of students that have issues with their digestion, and if we know it, then we can help fix it.
And even better, you know, there's a salad bar. I mean, there are options. And typically I eat most of my lunches in the dining hall. It'll give you descriptions of what's in the meal so that you know if you have an allergy or, you know, there are dietary restrictions. You kind of know what you can and can't, or what you should be kind of straying away from, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but again, I love this might be the new motto. Well, we don't know what we don't know. So the more you can tell us, the better, so we can help you out with the whole process, especially when it comes to the dining hall. I mean, you have the meal plan. It's a great thing, but utilize that as much as you can. So you said swiping. What am I swiping?
You are swiping your student ID. Now, the majority of you should have already gotten or all of you should have already gotten the actual email that told you to send a picture of you on a blank background to pictures@tiffin.edu. Now, those pictures you can smile. I get a lot of questions, are we able to smile? Yes, you can smile.
It's not a passport photo?
No, it's not a passport photo. Yeah, you can definitely smile. One thing that I do caution you is that, I mean, you're talking to an old gal here, so filters are my friend. However, when it comes to your student ID picture, you cannot have a filter applied to it. Our machine will recognize that, and you will come out looking like just not what you intended, I can guarantee. So you cannot send in a picture that is filtered. I will reject it and email you back and say, hey, I need another submission. But make sure that you're doing it on a blank wall. So a cream or a gray or something like that. A lot of people use their garage doors, especially first thing in the morning or later in the evening. The lighting is perfect. You're gonna get that natural filter that you want. But you definitely want to do it on a plain background, because I will have to reject that picture as well if it is not on a plain background.
When will they get their student ID then?
So you will get your student ID when we give you your key to actually move in. So they'll be in together, you'll get that. So some of the students, I don't know if commuters will be watching this, but we will have a table separate for commuters that we will actually have your ID ready to go for you as well.
Awesome. And that student ID is gonna get you, I mean, obviously in and out of the dining hall for students who are on a meal plan, but it also does a lot of other things. I mean, there's plenty of places around town where you show a student ID, or even in your hometown, a college ID, you'll get you discounts places.
Pretty decent discounts too.
So, and it also has your student ID number, which allows you access to our library and all these other cool things and career services website and all these things where you're gonna be asked your student ID often. And on the student ID card, you'll find that number.
We are actually,
I'm lying. Oh my gosh.
We are actually changing that up a little bit.
Tell us how.
So this year, we have a new design for our ID, and we are actually not going to have the number on there. So there will be a swipe that they'll be able to see what your number is. It just helps with security purposes. So the ID number, it'll just have your picture and your name. We may even have possibly a couple other little tidbits of information on you, but the actual ID number itself will not be on the front of the card anymore.
Probably for the best, right?
Yes.
Back in the day when I was in college, my social security number was on there.
Yeah.
That's how long ago I went to college. So we are moving up in the world. Security is key. Perfect. All right. So a couple more things, and I think we've covered a lot. And whatever we haven't covered in this video, if you want to put questions in the comments below, please do that. The whole point of this is to get the questions answered before you get here. So please, if it isn't through this video and you want to email them, if it's a specific question to you and your space, an email might be easier than posting a comment. Whatever works. We just want to get the questions answered. I'm moving on to campus. Where is my mail gonna come? If somebody wants to send me a little package or a hello, happy birthday card or whatever it may be, how does that get to me as a student?
So when you come to Tiffin University, you will actually, one of your pit stops will be at our mail center. And at that time, you will be assigned an actual mailbox number. And at that time, you can share with your family and friends. It's 155 Miami Street. the box number, and then Tiffin, Ohio 44883. So it's typically how I tell everybody to do it is Tiffin University, then your name, and then the 155 Miami, and then the box number, and then the Tiffin, Ohio. That's how they can send it. And we typically UPS and FedEx and all that usually, and the USPS usually is delivered by about 10 o'clock. So typically by noon, usually the mailboxes have been the mail has been sorted, and you can swing by on your lunch to grab your stuff.
And if you're like getting an Amazon package, or like me, I like to shop online, those things don't fit in your little mailbox, so that you'll get an email that says that the mail center has received your package, and you can come and pick it up. So
with your student ID.
Yeah, there you go. See? Leading right into it. All right, so awesome. I think I have one last question. We talked a lot about what you can bring, what will be in the room, all that good stuff. What am I not allowed to bring?
One of the biggest things that students get tripped up on, because a lot of our students are student athletes, and I get it. I played volleyball, my knee pads stank. They were disgusting, right? And the football players and baseball, everybody, I know that your equipment, your shoes, everything just starts stinking. So the number one cover up is a Scentsy pot or a wax melt thing. You can't have them on campus. They create too much of a mess, and it just gets crazy. So absolutely no Scentsy pots. Febreze is your friend. So Febreze, and we actually have diffusers are allowed. So if you have, essential oils or different kinds of smelly things that you like to put in your diffuser, you can actually use them.
Good vibes,
yes,
right?
Yes,
essential oils.
yes, exactly,
Awesome.
exactly.
Really
So that. Another huge one is that no one under any circumstance can have a microwave in their own personal room. Nope. Microwaves are provided, communal microwaves are provided in the common areas of the res halls. But yeah, you cannot have an actual microwave in your room. That's another biggie that we get. And another thing is nothing, no hot plates. So you can't have like a crock pot or I think there's air fryers and different things like that. Yes,
the George Foreman type things.
You are not able to have those in your res halls.
So there's a lot of things you can have, and there's a lot of things you can't have. The cool news is there's a packing list. You can't see it, but I'm showing you the packing list that you can find on our website. If you go to the Residence Life and Housing page, you'll find this list. It has the things you can bring and the things you cannot, things to leave at home. All right, so speaking of things that are not allowed in the residence halls, animals. What am I thinking here? Yep.
No.
Okay.
So yes, there are some special circumstances where you can have an animal. However, this needs to be approved prior to coming to campus. You can't bring JoJo into the building and then start the process and the paperwork. It doesn't work that way. We will actually remove JoJo from you. So you need to make sure that you have all of this literally taken care of prior to coming to campus, and it is something that has to be approved.
So I believe the process to start the approval process for an emotional support animal is through our Office of Disability Services.
Mm-hmm.
And so we will put that information into the comments so that you can, it does have to be approved by a doctor and all that. So there is a process that probably should start sooner than later, because getting here with the animal, nobody wants to take the animal from you, but if it's not approved ahead of time, it's a violation.
Yes.
And we're talking about rules and policies, and we want you to understand all those things, and we also don't want to break anyone's heart by having to take things away.
Right.
So the more you know, the better off you'll be when you get here. So one of the things I hadn't asked earlier that I forgot about, which I think is an important thing, we were talking about smelly stuff in rooms, right?
Yes.
Like socks and equipment and, working out and sweating, and then it's just laundry. Important.
Some of my best stories come from laundry.
Oh.
So I suggest that if you don't already do your own laundry, that you do get some sort of lesson about laundry.
Time to practice.
Yes. So I have seen people try and use dish soap, which cause a real sudsy kind of ordeal.
It's not gonna do the trick.
No. I've noticed the Tide Pods are your friend. because they're HE compatible. They're perfect, right? I've seen the method of just pouring and hoping. I've seen all sorts of things, but laundry is free, so you can use our machines, the washers and dryers for free, but you obviously have to provide your own laundry detergent, fabric softener, all of that, fabric sheets if that's what you want to use.
Laundry detergent, not dish soap.
Not dish soap.
There is a difference. Now,
Yes.
I need to say something. We're both parents. I have a 12-year-old daughter who does her own laundry. We do have the Tide Pods, main for that purpose alone, but she probably does it better than me. If pods, they don't have to be Tide. There's many brands.
Yes.
The pods are really easy to get here and back, and you can't really mess up the process in the washer.
Right.
Well, you can. Don't put too much, or you gotta have
Right there.
something. Yeah.
Putting
Even a Tide
too much
Pod,
on
yeah.
So please have a discussion with your parents about the appropriate amount of clothing that can go into a washer. I
Okay.
can tell you
can overload
that
it.
72 towels and 12 pairs of underwear will not fit into our washers. They are high efficiency and they are large capacity. However, you can't go 3 weeks and then decide to do all of your laundry in one month. It can't happen. So it's just about time management, and it's about fitting that into your schedule weekly or bi-weekly to get some of that laundry done, and it will help with the smell, especially if you're an athlete, in your room.
Yep, very much so.
Yes.
Yeah, great advice. Some of these things, they seem obvious and then not so much.
Correct.
Like microwaves in the community spaces in the halls. There's a process to popping popcorn.
Yes, or actually putting water in
With the ramen noodles.
or the Easy Mat.
Yeah.
That's happened.
Water
that sets
is a
the alarms
requirement.
off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So make
The
sure
fire department might come if you don't
Yes.
quite get the right equation of water to noodle.
Yeah, and not only are you upsetting yourself, but you're upsetting the entire hall because at
Evacuation.
20 degrees in the middle of winter, you are outside. Yes, so make sure you're paying attention to that kind of stuff. Yep.
Absolutely. We're just trying to be funny, but it actually happens at least a couple times, more than a couple
Yes.
times a semester.
Yes.
So you're welcome.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that has covered a good amount of the information. Lots of questions with hopefully a lot of answers. Again, please check our website out. There's all of the stuff we've talked about, the student handbook, the packing list, what to bring, what not to bring, dimensions of rooms and things like that. It's all on our website. If you have specific questions, feel free to email housing@tiffin.edu, or you can pop them here in the comments. We are here all summer. We are ready to answer your questions. We're excited to have you. And we are counting down the days till you're here, so we can't wait. Thanks, Jill.
Oh, thank you.
See you
Look
guys.
forward to meeting you all. See ya.